All right, everyone. So welcome to the Body Mastery Metabolic Kickoff. Today, it's about encapsulating all of the concepts of this program into one condensed form so that you kind of know what to expect, what's going on, all that good stuff. So we've got quite a bit of stuff to talk with you about today. And this is one of our most comprehensive programs that we've ever made. I mean, it has a lot of detail with it, and we're excited about it. And we're excited about teaching you how to train in a metabolic format and what that's all about, how to improve your range of motion in the base classes, how to improve your breathing and your lung function, and also how to eat in a way that helps you to lose body fat, maintain, or gain muscle.
Yeah.
So the very first 20 minutes of this or so is just going to be me and John just constantly just kind of talking. And if you want to put things down in chat, definitely we'll do that. And then we'll answer questions for, after that, after the 20 minutes over, we'll just do a nice brief Q&A. But what we'd like to ask is if everybody could put themselves on mute, or we might put you on mute so that we can all hear. All right, perfectly. All right, good. Okay, let's get started.
So thanks for coming to this seminar, I guess. It's not really a seminar. We're just going to talk a little bit about some different things in fitness, health and fitness. And generally, you only think about, in health and fitness, you think about really intense working out, and other things are sort of left to the side. And what we're attempting to do here is make as balanced programs as possible. And so we want to educate more and more. The more Jesse and I are online, the more that we want to just continue to educate people so that you guys get a better understanding of, like, metabolic systems, what those are and why you want to train all of them. And then we also want to talk about our base alignment training, why we feel it's most efficient, but also why science says it actually is the most efficient way to improve active range of motion. And then we're going to just go over breathing and its different and its benefits, all the different types of breathing that we're going to apply during this program. And then lastly, we're going to talk about nutrition and how to really simply apply some simple guidelines to get results. We don't know everything, but we have a vast amount of experience in all of these parts of this program. And so we learn constantly, and we're constantly seeking to learn more and more. And so starting with the very first part, which is metabolic training, that's what this course is about. Body mastery, basically, that title literally means what we're trying to do is create the most balance in our body and our mind and our spirit. And that's what that means, body mastery. And so it's not just how many push-ups can you do, it's literally getting balanced in your alignment and your eating and breathing and everything. And this applies to people that are older and people that are younger. And if you're younger or older and you get dialed into this, you'll make change, and everybody in between. So the very first part, metabolic energy systems. There's three basic systems that we use throughout our life. One is a short duration, one's intermediate, and one's long duration. And the short duration, and I'm just skimming over these right to begin with, can be something like a 40-yard sprint, okay? But it can also last up to a minute long. And this is still a maximum effort output. So we might do something like this if we're doing a max amount of push-ups in a minute. If Sam ran 200 meters all out, that would be a good example of a short metabolic system, okay? Now, the next phase is intermediate. And intermediate is where you can do an application like Sam running on 200 meters, but then he has a 1-to-1 work to rest, and then he does it again. So let's say it takes him 45 seconds to run that 200 meters. Then he walks for 45 and he repeats, and he walks for 45 and he repeats. So he's going to get a training effect. It's not going to be as intense because his pace is most likely going to reduce a little bit, but you're going to get a metabolic training effect, an intermediate one. Okay, and this can last, you can do these training modalities from anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, and this is intermediate metabolic system. And then the long duration can be anything from 10 minutes up to an hour. Okay, it can be anything from, and this has 2 levels, and this is something like gardening, walking, which Sandy might go for a long walk with Dave. Or this could also be a lighter version of a movement. Let's say we could even make it squats, and where you're doing it, or our base program, where you're going for maybe 45 seconds on and then a shorter recovery, so that you're going to have a higher heart rate, but it's not going to be anywhere near that short term. So in terms of heart rate, short term is the highest, the intermediate is just below that, and then long term is just below that. So that covers all 3 phases. And why you want to get this is because it's that adaptation to different modalities that strengthens our overall system. If you get acclimated to just one, you'd probably want to get acclimated more towards the more intense one, but that depends. If you're older, injured, overweight, or just deconditioned, you don't want to do that first one because you're at a higher risk of injury. So this is where, and this is why, in this Body Mastery Metabolic program, we're still giving you 3 levels to each of these systems. Does that make sense? Okay, so whether you're Sam, are you like 16 or 17 now?
I'm 15. 15?
Sorry, Sam. So he's a big kid. So I always overguess how old he is and stuff. But if you're 15, he can go all out in an energy system and he'll be fine. But on the other end of the spectrum, if we ask for a full out super intensive for somebody that's maybe overweight or has knee injuries or something like that, that's not going to be smart. So we ratchet it down and make it still available at stability level. It doesn't make a difference. So within those 3 systems, that's what we're going to be challenging people every single day of the week. Some days it might be body weight, some days it might be kettlebell. But then also, this is where our base comes into play for long-term. Base is actually a perfect long-term, long metabolic training system.
So I want to tell you how we're going to implement these into your workouts. So each day, beginning on week 2, we're going to have, let's just take, for example, the clean and push press. Okay, so the kettlebell clean and push press. We're going to train you in the immediate system first. Then we're going to train you that same exercise, but slightly modified in the intermediate system second. And then we're going to train you same exercise, slightly modified, long duration. So every single day, you're going to hit immediate, intermediate, and long duration for that exercise. So this is what makes this particular program so interesting, because we also have to separate stability, strength, and power exercises, make these movements a little harder or a little less hard, depending on what energy system we're training in. So it's really awesome because you guys get this opportunity to find out all different kinds of ways to challenge yourself in different ways. Maybe it's changing the exercise, maybe it's changing the time or whatever. But no matter what, you guys are training in those systems for each day. The base, like what Johnny was just about ready to talk about, actually is a part of that long duration system as well. So in the long duration, that would be the last thing that we train. You'll probably be training that about 10 minutes. And then from there, we're going right into base, which will last about 15 minutes. So you get that energy system utilizes fat. So you'll get that fat burning component that on that very last one, long duration and the base.
And again, it's that acclimation to things probably that you're not used to, that challenge and of that different or that change is what makes us stronger. Okay, and we'll be doing that every single day of the week. Well, not Sundays, but most every day. Okay, so now with the base, we're going to be putting a bigger focus, and we have been slowly getting into range of motion more and more. If you guys have been following our base, literally you can look at it as base is extreme range of motion, meaning our full range of motion with strength. So we're trying to get you guys to the point where you're getting full range on every single movement and have the ability to come out of it. And those of that have been doing our most recent programs, and those that have been training with us during the warrior sequences, you've been getting dialed into these different movement patterns where we are challenging you to get deeper in all of your warrior poses. And it's working, but now we're going to take it to another level. And this whole program is about that. It's going to be quite challenging every single day, but you all will acclimate and become very strong because of it.
You guys understand how important it is to gain full range of motion in a joint? Do you guys understand that, right? We need that space. So we don't want to get ourselves confined to a position where we can't bend forward or can't get into a full squat or are having problems with wrist dexterity or those kinds of things. Those restrictions are an aging process for us. And we're trying to move away from that and get you back to having space in the joint, having full range of motion in movement, which reduces injury and just makes you happy overall. Base was developed by Johnny about 20 years ago. And we've been refining and exploring with this technique, and we've really come up with what we feel is a really good plan. And the reason why I want to focus on base right here for a few minutes is because it does some pretty exceptional things. One of the best ways to train full range of motion is by making a neurological connection. So meaning I want my brain to tell this part of my body to move in this direction. Now, if we lose that neuromuscular connection, meaning I don't understand how it feels to actually do a pull-up, or I don't understand how it feels to have my arms out to the sides in extension, base is designed to help you find that neurological connection again. So that is the best way to improve your range of motion is by making that fire one more time or again. And
I want to make one point on that, and that's where the feedback in the classes is so profound. Because, for example, if you take a traditional yoga class, they're going to have a rote way of saying everything. Okay, expand, lengthen, and it's general for the entire class. Now, all yogas do this, all Pilates, all alignment training, they have a general terminology that they give on every single movement. But the thing is that Jesse's pointing out about a neurological connection is that you have to have some incredibly experienced people in order to eye your disconnect. So, for example, we have a young lady here that's in this class right now. I think she knows who I'm about to talk about.
She laughs.
She does. So she had everybody, and we could say anybody in class has a disconnect with, like, her thing was going deeper into a squat, deeper into a lunge, actually realizing hamstring to calf is full range. She had a massive fear of that. Okay. And we have these disconnects throughout our body that limit us. The more limitations, the less range of motion that we have, and the quicker we age. And so what we're trying to get out of this is our ability to eye you guys and tell you, do this, or lift here, pull back here, is very unique to base. And that is helping you reconnect neurologically to engage those muscles that normally you bypass all the time. And that's a very key point.
Right. So we're going to be focusing on that. And in the very beginning, for those of you who aren't familiar with doing base, this can be the most challenging part, because how are you going to move a muscle if you can't find the muscle? So we'll, like Johnny said, we'll work with you and get you into that, moving in that direction. And our eye is pretty good in being able to say, hey, Robert, your left shoulder sits higher than your right, and it's rounded, you know? So then we know that when we get into a position that requires you to be an extension, we're gonna have to give you certain cues. And so this is like I said, this is the best way to improve your range of motion, but it doesn't stick unless you do it repetitively. And that's why base is included in every single day that you guys are going to be training in the Body Mastery Metabolic Program. And then there are a few other things that are great for improving range of motion, changing fascia, which of course you would do that with your range of motion. Can we extend by contracting one side and having one side, you know, lengthen? That's moving the fascia. Plus we're going through movement in these poses in base. It's not going to be all static. We're actually going to have you going in and out of poses. We're going to actually have you load certain poses or make poses a little bit more challenging. And that's another way to improve your range of motion. So all of the base training, you're going to be doing the same poses we have a sequence called Warrior 3, and we've broken all of those poses that are in that Warrior 3 into groups of 3, and you're going to be repeating those poses every single day. So you're going to get a lot of improvement in your range of motion. You're going to feel a lot stronger. What you're going to end up doing on week 1, you're going to blow your mind by the week 8 when you get back into that pose, because it'll be completely different.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so that covers the base. Just to ask, does anyone have a question on the metabolic training systems or the base, what we talked about? Yeah, Frank.
Oh. Yeah, is the sequence always the same? You start with the immediate, then intermediate, then long duration?
Yeah.
That energy system, when you train, that will always be the same. And there's a reason for that. You know, you want to do that hard, fast, you know, all out first. And then it will be followed up by your intermediate, which will be broken up like what Johnny was talking about, with maybe it's a 45-second run and a 45-second rest. Yours will be like a 15-15. For those of you who are familiar with monkey bar gym training, that's 15 seconds on, 15-second rest for a certain amount of time. Your intermediate, and then your long duration is, hey, we're just going. It might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, and you're going to get as many reps as you possibly can, but that heart rate has to stay at a certain pace, and we're just kind of flowing through it without the need to take a long break.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have you'll feel each different training metabolic system every single day, but you'll still be doing them at your own level. So it works out really nice, because the last one then goes right in to base, because we're going to be doing base after the training during this program. So that we put it after, because you're going to go short, intermediate, long-term, and then base is long-term. So your total amount of training time each day is generally going to be somewhere in between about 15 to 20 minutes for the training and about 15 to 20 minutes for base. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the last, well, not the last, but second to the last is the breathing portion, which also can be kind of somewhat encapsulated with the long duration. We're going to be working with 5 different styles of breathing technique. We've got the Bolt test and the Bolt breathing, which is body oxygen level test, that's going to be kind of our focus to improve that Bolt test score. So you guys are going to be doing that fairly, really quickly off the bat to start. Then we're going to be doing things like circular breathing, 4-square breathing, which some of you may be familiar with. We're going to do a resisted breathing, and then we're going to also do an active breathing. So you'll get these every single day as well, and we'll practice one every single day.
And each one of them has different benefits that they might overlap a little bit, but each one has different benefits that I think it's similar to doing the 3 metabolic systems of training, where you're going to get different effect from the different breathing modalities as well, varying from athletic performance to weight loss to relaxation to energizing. They cover the gamut basically, and that's why we're going to be doing a different one every single day with the goal of improving all by the end of the course. And then the last point that we're going to talk about is nutrition. And we have about 5 points that we're going to talk about here with nutrition. And nutrition is a very funny beast in that sometimes it can get too complicated, sometimes it's too general. So like most of the years at the Monkey Bar Gym, I would see results from people that are incredibly disciplined, but then most people would be it would be just like eating whole food plant-based, which means 80 to 90% plants or more. That leaves the door open for volume. And that's one thing that we saw over the years is that people, although we would say, follow the hand plan, eat a bowl this size, I saw some people dial it in and they'd get the results, but then a lot of people wouldn't get it. And that didn't work overall, I would say, except for a small percentage of people. And we've offered up on a platter different things following, for example, reverse dieting in the body mastery program. Worked for some people, was challenging for most people to do it though. Honestly, we were saying that was sort of challenging for most people to follow that. So then Jesse and I have been really trying to think of, okay, what's the simplest? The truth of the matter is, unless your name is Sam, in this group right here, you're probably trying to lose body fat and maintain or gain muscle mass. Sam is trying to probably increase his muscle mass. Am I right, Sam? Yeah, he's a high school athlete. And so for high school athletes, that's the case most of the time. So it's still important for him to find his BMR. It's still important for him to figure out his calories that he wants to take in every day. And the other parts that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to lay it out for you guys in a way that hopefully is incredibly simple and that makes results, whether you track it online with an app or you just want to take notes on a notepad. Okay, so with that said, there's 5 parts that we're going to talk about, and please feel free to ask questions during this, because this is without question the most confusing part of health and fitness. Even though we're trying to make it incredibly simple. Here's the fact of it. Here's the fact. If you want to lose weight, I don't care, and neither does Jesse, if you are vegan, vegetarian, paleo, Atkins, keto, South Beach, keto, Godzilla diet. I don't care. If you want to maintain weight or drop weight, you got to be in a calorie. You got to match your calories every day of what you consume versus your active BMR to maintain your weight. If you want to lose weight, you have to be in a slight calorie deficit. And we're not saying you got to massively cut your calories. You got to be in a slight calorie deficit. And one thing that we have seen is that too often times it's that big drop off in what you're taking, what your BMR is, your active BMR. It's too big a drop off and it's just not sustainable for most people, unless you're incredibly disciplined. And then when you leave that and you're like, okay, I've done it for 8 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever, and they go back to eating, then they gain their weight back. Okay, so the successful way to do it that we find is, one, let's figure out what your BMR is, your active BMR per day. And we're going to provide that for those of you that are signed up for the course. And then you're going to just reduce by a certain amount of calories every day, just by what you feel comfortable with, so that you make long-term steady progression towards your goal. And it's the same whether you're Sam trying to slowly put muscle mass on, or, you know, Jim or whomever who's trying to slowly lose body fat, or anybody that's just trying to maintain. We got to find our BMR, and then we're going to either reduce, maintain, or add to that BMR every day in order to get the result we want. Now, the part about that is, okay, let's say we found our BMR for every single one of you in this group. You know what your active BMR is to maintain your weight. Now, the next step is, okay, I want to lose body fat. I'm going to reduce it a couple hundred calories a day, not 500, but maybe 300 or 400 calories below, so that I get nice, slow, and steady, and it's a live with for me. It can't be what we realize. You cannot have it where, okay, Monona Mark, you want to lose 10 pounds, we're going to drop your calories 800 calories a day. He's going to hate it. He's not going to join his meals. That's completely nonsense. So if we said, okay, can we drop it 300 calories a day, maybe 400, and figure out a meal plan that you love every single meal, and then you're like, yeah, I can do this. That's a win-win, and that's what we're looking for. Okay.
Those 400 calories could be as simple as 6 Brazil nuts out of your diet. You know, it's not that much. Like you said, it's a very small calorie restriction.
Yeah. So finding your BMR is the first thing. Your active BMR is the first thing. And then either adding it like Sam will do, or reducing it like others may do. And then that's step one, figuring that out. Step two would then be, we got to figure out your macros. Now, your macros are your carbs, your proteins, your fats. And the thing is, for most people, is that you want to maintain your muscle mass no matter what. So Sam wants to put his on, so he's got to hit a certain amount of protein a day. Even for people that want to maintain their weight, or even if people want to drop their body fat, you still want to maintain your muscle mass. Because you look at it like a spectrum, okay? Here's your BMR. Eating too many calories way up here, you're going to gain weight. Eating too few calories, you're going to lose weight, but you're also going to lose muscle. And nobody wants to do that. Okay, even people that are 300 or 400 pounds, they don't want to lose their muscle. They you know, you feel like, I've worked so hard to get this muscle. So you don't want to lose that. So what we're trying to do is find a happy medium that gets results. And so once we figure that out, then we want to make sure that we're hitting a correct amount of protein. That's the next step. So calories and then protein. And then after that, it is incredibly it is about you finding what you like. Do you like eating more carbs? Do you like eating more fat? And then figuring out your fat to carbs ratio, because you want to hit a certain amount of protein so we don't lose muscle mass. And then you want to sort of decipher it yourself. Do I want to eat more fat, or do I want to eat more carbs? Okay, so that is a way to do it. And you can track those measurables. All right. But what if you're a person, what if Robert is like, I don't want to be on a computer 1 minute more? Then a simple way to do this is, you still want to track, but use a notepad. Write down what meals you ate. Write down what your weight was when you wake up in the morning, and there you go. You'll know, am I dropping weight? Am I maintaining it, or am I gaining it? And if I'm gaining it, what the hell did I eat yesterday? Oh, I had this, this, and this. Okay. Or I was up all night. What the hell did I eat last night? You know, so I really like tracking that way, because you can always, if you're not getting the positive result, then why are you, doing it in the first place? You want to get a positive result. You can keep it simple by following an app, entering data in an app, or you can use a notepad, or you can do a combination of the two to see how you feel. Okay, and then the last part one other part that we wanted to talk about was anti-inflammatory foods. And this is really dialing into how do you feel. Today, more than ever, we eat more processed foods. We are bombarded with omega-6s. We used to be, back in the day, it was 1-to-1 in relationship, a ratio of us getting omega-6s and omega-3s. Omega-3s are incredibly healthy for us. Now it's 25-to-1. And that's because we eat so many processed and cheap foods. And Ben might be smiling because he works for a company that promotes eating a high omega-3 food, right, Ben? Yeah, the salmon. It's from Sitka Salmon. It's a great company. So that's a big time important thing. And your note taking, whether it be in an app or on a notepad, is a reflection of, do I feel like I have inflammation going on? Or do I feel like I've been dialed in and I'm eating anti-inflammatory foods that are making my joints feel better, that's making me recover better, that's making my overall skin and hair and eyes and everything better? So this is a big part of what we're going to be doing as well, because we want to help you guys dial that part in so that it's not just about eating to lose weight. It's about eating in a way that is sustainable, that creates a positive benefit. And then the next part that we are going to go over is intermittent fasting. So all of these other aspects of nutrition are great. Intermittent fasting is also a really awesome way to improve your health. And you can manipulate this any way that you want. You don't have to do intermittent fasting. If you're on a calorie deficit, you could eat however. Sam definitely doesn't have to do it because we're going to encourage him to eat more, but good food, Sam. Okay. But there's so much benefit to it, whether you do 12-12 or maybe you just fast for the first 4 hours of every day. There's multiple different ways to do it for a person, but they give great benefit that all lead towards greater health. And then the last point that we wanted to talk about is taking your body fat. And a lot of people don't like doing this. And it's incredibly important because you got to know where you are to see if you're getting a result towards where you want to go. And I don't care if a person's 50% body fat or not. If you take it and 2 weeks later or a week later, you're the same weight, but yet you lost 2 pounds of fat, maybe you put up 2 pounds of muscle on, you might be discouraged if you didn't know what your body fat was. And then you quit. But if you realize, wow, I'm going in the right direction, huge difference. So it's really important that you take that body fat test to start things off and that you do it on a regular basis. And again, going back to like our actual previous body mastery course, what was that course all about? It's about being honest with yourselves and really finding out where you're at. And if you're eating like crap, hello, let's get dialed in, track it. If you're not going in the right direction, then what are we doing? And if your body, like myself, anti-inflammatory is super important for my joint health and feeling pain-free in joints. If I don't feel good, what the hell did I eat yesterday? That's important. And intermittent fasting helps that. And anti-inflammatory foods help that. And there's so many different aspects, guys, to this nutrition part that will benefit you overall. But the big thing is we got to be real with ourselves and be honest with ourselves, and checking in will do that on a regular basis. And we do that with base every day and that's what I think you guys sort of like, but you don't like when we're like, bend, lengthen a little bit more, pull your right shoulder back, and then he'll make faces. I don't know if he's mad at me or Jesse, or if he's just making faces because he's trying so hard, but it's that feedback in being real with yourself. Is like, yeah, I got to do that. That's what we're trying to do in this course, to just in body mastery courses, and to make it as encapsulated as possible, to give you as well-rounded, balanced health and strength as possible. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And so the week one is all about getting your feet wet. So in week one, we're going to be teaching you all of the exercises in every single energy system. So you don't even need to worry about thinking about it right now, like what are they wanting me to do or anything like that. You're going to do it for the entire first week. We're going to teach you all of that. We're also going to teach you how to be in the base movement. So we're going to break it down into small groups so that we can refine that technique. And like I said, week one is just about getting your feet wet and teaching you these movements. We're also going to incorporate the breathing practice. So you know how to do bolt breathing one day, then you'll know how to do the active or resisted breathing the next day or whatever. And then we're also going to include the nutrition component, because nutrition is so tricky. So at the very end of all of our training for the day, for week one, we're going to talk about nutrition. So Monday, for example, when we start, we're going to talk about calorie restriction just a little bit, because now for those of you who are in the program, you should already have gotten a link about taking your body fat test and your BMR. So you can go ahead and take those tests and have them ready. So on Monday, when we talk about this calorie restriction stuff, you'll have your everything ready for you, and we can talk to you about how you're going to do this efficiently. Yeah. So week one, it's a lot to cram into an hour session. So we might go just a little bit over, but if you have to cut out, that's fine. But that's what week one is all about. We're going to repeat those tests that we take in week one, because you're going to test in week 1 too, in week 8. And then week 2 through week 7 is just fun, good times, and just making sure we're fun, good, maybe some good time to make sure we improve and increase. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you is normally when we have these kinds of training sessions, we do a week 1 is one way, week 2 is another way. But in this particular challenge, we need to keep weeks 2 through 7 when we're really training, focus on one exercise. So these weeks are going to be the same. You're going to be practicing the same movement on Monday that you did the Monday before. And there's a reason for this, because we want to make sure that you are improving in this, and we don't want to take gaps out of that. So weeks 2 through 7 are exactly the same. The only thing we might manipulate would be the workout style. So for example, in the long duration, let's say we have one that we want to do 5 minutes on one day, then the next week we repeat that, we might go 10 minutes, or we might do something just slightly different, but it'll still be that long duration system. All right, guys, we have some questions. The first one was, what does BMR mean?
BMR is your basal metabolism rate. There's 2 types of this. So if you just don't do anything all day, you're going to be at X. Okay, so a typical person, like I'll just use a guy who's 200 pounds, his BMR with no activity might be around 1,800 calories burned a day. Then there is the next level up, which is your daily active BMR. And don't quote me on that. I just made that term up because it's what your BMR is with your biking or ball or whatever that you do during the day. So there's different levels to an active BMR. You could be incredibly sedentary, where you might multiply your BMR by just a little bit, because what you do all day, you're working out, is going gardening for 10 minutes 3 times a week. Okay, that would be a very small multiplying of your regular BMR. And then there's all levels in between, which you guys will see that you'll be like, oh, that's me. You know, like Sam, for example, he plays ball probably 6 days a week. He's going to be weight training and stuff with us, multiple days a week as well. His is on the very high end, plus he wants to put muscle mass on. So his is going to be on the very high end. multiplying times his regular BMR to give him a very high amount of caloric intake a day. So there's about 5 or 6 levels to it. You will pick the one that best matches what your energy expenditure is per day. And that's where you really figure out your BMR. And off of that, we will then figure out how many calories you're going to consume a day to either gain muscle, maintain, or to reduce your body fat.
So on Monday, when we talk about that calorie restriction part and you have all of your numbers ready, we can talk about that at the discussion at the end of the workout.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't be at the live Zoom class, then just go ahead and put that in the comment section. Utilize that comment section like crazy, and we'll make sure to answer any of your questions there too. The next one we had is, does MVG have a favorite food tracker? Yeah, we use MyFitnessPal, Robert, a lot. But you can do, you know,
Lose It works
anything
nice.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many out there. I recommend, we like MyFitnessPal the most though.
Does anyone else have any questions about anything? And everybody's on mute.
Yeah.
The live classes, what time are the live classes? The live classes are 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. That link is in your product under Zoom links. So you can click that one for Monday through Friday. Saturday classes are slightly different. They're at 9 a.m. Those are the base classes. And if you haven't been able to go through all of the videos yet, I explained in one of them that the base classes, we're going to be doing Warrior 1, Warrior 2, and Warrior 3. So you're going to constantly get those classes. On Saturday, May 8th, your very first week, you're actually going to do Warrior 3 in that Saturday class at 9 a.m. And of course, we'll record it too and upload it so that you can follow it that way. But we've also got to follow along Warrior 3 sequence that you can do on your own time if you want to. That's included in your product. And you'll see that when week 1 is available tomorrow.
And then as always, we have the comment section. So for those of you that can't make the live class, and even those that can, you're going to be commenting, we'll be responding, and that's where we give the coaching. So if you're watching the recording of the class, then you can do the same thing. You write comments. Basically, you might ask questions. You might just note how well you did in the workout and write your previous, like let's say Dave did 10 push-ups and 10 pull-ups last week, and this week he did 11. He might say, I went up to 11. I improved by 1 on each. That's an example of tracking so that I can give feedback, and I might write something back like, Dave, what is wrong with you? Why don't you go up to 12 or something? I'm just joking.
No, he's not.
But I give Dave a hard time once in a while. But that's where we'll have the back and forth where we can coach you guys to work up to the next levels, or sometimes we'll say ratchet it back. Okay, that is also a place where if you want, say, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Can I send you a video? Yes, send a video and I'll give you feedback on your form on any of the exercises. That's a big part of this. It's the back and forth. And that's also where you guys will see other people's numbers that hopefully inspires you to higher levels.
Similar to their last.
We have another question. How long do we have this product and how long are the classes, the recordings available? The product is yours. So once you purchase it, it's yours for life.
Yep.
All right, any other questions, guys?
Hey, Jesse, it's Nora.
Hey, Nora.
You addressed this a little bit in terms of not, like for the people who aren't going to be able to be in the live classes. And I guess I'm thinking like specifically about the way that you two coach. Like I can oftentimes feel a difference in the quality of the workout when I'm able to participate in the class because you just take us there. And I won't be able to attend the live classes. And I still but I love the community and I love the accountability so much. I'm just wondering if I do the program, like, are there any tips other than like, like putting my numbers in the comments? Like I'm going to be getting up at probably 5 or 5:30 in the morning to train.
Oh, good times.
It's interesting though, because like I can do conditioning at that time I can do even body weight, but for some reason, like when I see those kettlebells, like my body is like, girl, this is not meant for you right now. Like,
I know.
I have a- Oh,
so
go ahead.
just tips about how to like mentally challenge myself at that time, or I don't know if I should experiment trying to do the workout at a different time of the day. But when I've done that, like usually if I've had a bad day at work, I end up like, I don't know, in like a bag of tortilla chips instead of the gym. So that's why I prefer to do it in the morning, because I'm like, I don't know. So just tips.
I think
Tips about how to teach, like how to train, how to do the program at that time of the day without you there coaching.
I think that this is such an awesome question, and I can answer it simply that because the workouts are timed, this changes things quite a bit.
Wow.
So if we just went into a position where we're like, okay, we got 20 minutes to do, you know, this or that, and we're just kind of floaty float, and it's a good workout, but it's, you know, we're not like, there's not an emphasis on time. You got to get this done. That's what will help you at 5:30 a.m. do these. The very first intermediate system that we're training is 1 minute.
That's it.
And that's it. And you have to go all out in that 1 minute. So for you, Nora, no matter what, even if you felt like you were taking it easy doing front squats for 1 minute, but you went 1 full minute, that's going to be intense for you.
And it might not even, like Nora, 16Ks front squats, let's say. You're not going to go for the full minute. So what if you stop in 25 seconds and you're like, okay, that's it. You're done. Was that super hard? No.
No. And maybe you got like 7 or 8 reps. Boom, we're done. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And then we go into the intermediate, which is also timed. So Nora, I think that time, implementing that time is going to really help you at 5:30 in the morning. Absolutely, do this workout.
Keaton or Fatima made a really good point as well.
Yeah,
what I agree with 100% is you like the recordings. And so what I would suggest is just train a day later.
Yeah.
So if you're going to train, you do the Monday workout on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And then you follow the recording with this. And you've even commented before on that, how you almost feel like you're in class. And sometimes you ask us questions, even though you're following the recording. Yes, she does that. Which other people have reported to us. I actually find ourselves talking back and forth with you sometimes. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm on a recording, which is a great thing. And then maybe you, Nora, work out with Daia, you know, and you're like, okay, that's my girl there. I'm going to work out with her. And that's another great way to, even though it's a recording, is try and just, you know, you can even probably talk to her like, Daia, let's go. Like I do sometimes. Let's go, pick a pace up a little bit. Okay, even though it's a recording.
Right.
So I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So Mary asked, when starting out, what weight of kettlebells should we have? So you guys also received today, what is my strength level? A video to kind of figure out what your strength level is. And definitely watch this because it'll give you some tips on, you know, should I be at stability? Should I be at strength? Or should I be at power when we start training? What we like to say is people who are at power level when it comes to kettlebells, for women, you're using 16Ks. Like that's just your go-to. It's just 16Ks. For men, it's 24Ks. That would be at power level. For those people in strength level, you guys are kind of the tricky little area because you can be really strong at one exercise and be really weak at another exercise. So, you know, maybe women in strength level will use 12Ks for that. And then women in stability level might use 8Ks. Some might even use 4Ks. So it's kind of like all over the place, but you can base it off the power level weights, 16Ks for women, 24Ks for men, and work your way down from there.
And Mary, that Jesse's mom, Sandy, is a good example of somebody who started incredibly light, and through just a little bit of coaxing, now she's incredibly strong, and she inspires everybody to higher and higher levels because she now believes, and she does stuff that nobody thought she could do when she started, and weights that seemed really heavy when she started are no problem now.
Hey, Mom, wave your hand so everybody knows who you are.
There you go.
That's my mom.
She's inspiring big time.
All right, do we have any other questions or comments? Right now, I don't think so.
All righty.
Excellent.
Well, thank you guys for coming in to this Saturday morning seminar on the Body Mastery Metabolic Program. We hope that you all can join us for the live classes. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask us via the comment section or email us. We just want to help everybody. That is our goal in life. So,
and if you haven't signed up, I just put the link there. If you want to sign up, there's still time for you to sign up because we don't start until Monday officially with the workouts. So you can sign up using that link. All right, guys.
Nice to see you all.
We're excited.
We look forward to seeing you all
See you on
soon.
Monday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sean and Jess.
Thank you
Bye.
all.